Brian Burns from Sturbridge. I've written a good deal about the history portrayed by the Camp Lincoln String Band and know you'll enjoy their music as much as audiences have from Gettysburg to Vermont and beyond. And soon you'll see and hear just why the band has been popular since the turn of the century. As you know, music has always played an important role in American life. As leisure time increased, the role of folk music in our culture expanded. Different streams of music sometimes joined and evolved into a distinctly American form. The songs could be as outwardly different as a battlefield lament is from a minstrel strut, but it was American music. The Camp Lincoln String Band plays that American music, and their performances help preserve those rich and vibrant traditions, as well as providing a pretty good time for modern audiences. Throughout the 18th century, trained musicians and amateurs met in parlors and taverns, in barnyards and on battlefields and anywhere else they could entertain both themselves and anyone else who'd listen. These pioneers sought to keep old songs alive, share new regional music, and hone their musical craft. In the early 19th century, the landscape of American folk music altered. Black slaves contributed their unique musical culture and tribal rituals. Irish and German immigrants sang of their heroes and their hopes for a better life in the New World. Displaced French Canadians brought their characteristic musical style to the bayous of Louisiana. These and many other cultures contributed diverse ingredients to the melting pot that became American folk music. And, as has happened throughout recorded history, formally schooled musicians incorporated and popularized the sounds of the people. Thomas Jefferson, for example, intrigued by the sounds black musicians produced on an odd, gourd-like instrument, knew that he must have one of those stringed banzas, or banjos as they were called, for his own collection at Monticello. Joel Walker Sweeney and others share the credit for guiding the banjo into today's familiar five-string instrument. Along the way, Sweeney's brother became the favorite banjo player of Confederate General Jeb Stuart. The evolution of circus bandsmen and parlor musicians into professional performers was a natural movement. In the 1840s, men like Dan Emmett and Billy Whitlock formed world-renowned minstrel troupes. Stephen Foster and George Root composed music still taught to school children today, and minstrel shows brought the sounds of plantations, mills, taverns, ships, and army camps to a much broader audience. These traditions live on through the Camp Lincoln String Band, based in central Massachusetts and named for a nearby Civil War training camp. Composed of historical reenactors, the band derives its sound from the rich musical traditions of both the 18th and 19th centuries. With period and reproduction instruments, the band plays in appropriate style. In other words, audiences experience music just as people from another time did, whether they were soldiers of the Civil War or eager participants in a dance or social. The Camp Lincoln String Band combines authenticity, education, and quality entertainment. The players recreate an environment and style suitable to taverns, dinner socials, period concerts, dances, or as subtle background to your historical event or function. The band is equally comfortable playing for informal sing-alongs around the traditional campfire. Members of the Camp Lincoln String Band bring extensive experience in music and historical reenactment. Frontman and guitarist Mark Slayton of Millis is captain of the reconstituted 25th Massachusetts Volunteer Infantry Regiment and is most at home entertaining fellow troops around a blazing campfire, leading the chorus in rousing renditions of historic battle songs. Peter Emmerich of Uxbridge plays on flute, tin whistle, and fife. frequently performs at sites like Old Sturbridge Village and Colonial Williamsburg, and can be heard on numerous historical recordings and film soundtracks.
I've been doing museum quality entertainment for a number of years, and I found that this music is more of a cultural experience than an entertainment experience for me. The ability to live this part and entertain folks by what would have been considered commonplace at the time has an atmosphere and an air that's totally unique.
Tom Emmerich, Peter's brother, is the band's percussionist, playing drums, bones, and various other instruments. He too is a familiar performer at historical venues. Charlie Grosseman contributes his skills on banjo and vocal harmony. Not surprisingly, he brings to the group a wide knowledge of Revolutionary and Civil War history. New Hampshire's Andy Mansfield draws on his extensive experience in the performance of various styles of music. Guitarist and backup harmony vocalist for the band, Andy's love of history is evident in his work. Banjoist Steve LeClaire of Sutton has the group's requisite enthusiasm for history, as well as a background in music education, performance, and historical reenactment. Steve's period frailing style on the gut-string banjo provides a distinctive sound among the players.
For me, the challenge of 18th and 19th century music is basically that you've got modern ears and you're trying to play it and portray it as it would have been heard with 19th century ears. It's very hard to do, but a challenge nonetheless. To perform in this style, you have to assume different tonalities and different sounds. You're playing on unforgiving instruments that are slightly out of tune, and you have to just take away the modernisms of the way you would want to hear it and interpret it the way that it would have been heard and played.
Engage the Camp Lincoln String Band for your next historical event, whether civilian or military, formal or informal. They're played at Gettysburg, the GAR halls of Vermont. Your event should be next. These people really do live in the 18th and 19th centuries, so please come and visit them at their website. For more information, please see the band's website at www.angelfire.com/ma3/camlink. For rates, availability, and CDs, phone Uxbridge Historical Entertainment at 508-234-0363.